stuff. All right. One thing I want to start off doing new on stream. We're going to see if this works out. We're going to talk some shit about what's going on Twitter, and then we'll switch it up. This is not the podcast. This is just, talking the shit. I don't even know what's talking shit. Just commenting on what I've been seeing on Twitter the last little bit. So, without much further ado, let's switch it up. There we go. First tweet. Possibly Jasmine says, I've seen a number of takes on the timeline. I've seen a number of takes on the timeline regarding the sale of Sikh girl nudes to Sikh and Muslim men. One thing I want to ask is, how do we protect and educate our youth on the issue? I saw the original tweet was by Shit Punjab UK. Fucking nasty ass shit. I mean, this stuff's been going on for ages. But the fact that there's now a sale and a business around it, man, and that people are like pimping out their own community and their own sisters from y'all coming, man. Like, that's some dirty ass shit. Y'all need to just, I don't know what's growing up, because I'm sure the people doing this are youngins and shit, but like, what's the end thing? This is all leads to just like extortion, and then people like, yo, I got some dirty ass pics, yo, trust, I'm gonna leak them if you don't, come down with me and shit. People need to fucking move on, man. It's the weirdest shit. I feel like if you do know someone involved in this stuff, get your pay tomorrow. Like, there's really nothing. Just gotta end this thing quick. And I remember one of the things that came out of this was like grooming gangs and all that stuff's always been around, but not around, but like it's always been talked about. And luckily been around for a long time now. And this is the way all that grooming stuff kind of happens. And I know one thing that people talked about with this was, listen, man, why are you guys shaming the girls into sending these pictures when it's the guys friggin' asking for them and all that kind of stuff? And yeah, man, as a dude, sidarakko, like, fuck. If you're the dude who's first begging for the pictures and then leaking them, and then people are like, yo, you gotta stop blaming the girls. I mean, look, everyone's got to carry some blame. You gotta just educate girls too. Like, if you have daughters and stuff or sisters, and like, yo, listen, I know dudes are fucked, but don't blame that shit either, right? Like, just because he says I love you, don't fucking start sending him nudes and shit, man. Keep that shit 100. And then just be real. Any picture you take on your phone is gonna get friggin' uploaded to the cloud. That shit gets hacked. It's gonna go around, man. Just don't take those pictures. Pull out the old Polaroid camera maybe, but the last thing you want is like growing old and all of a sudden it shit surfaces up because your kid goes to your Google Photos and it's like, oh shit, Mama, Papa, Aki, I thought that. It's like, what? Oh shit. Once it's on the internet, man, that shit never dies. Just don't put it on the internet to begin with. That's the only way you can really deal with it, right? Here's Shit Punjab's original tweet about it. Yesterday evening, our Sevadars attended a disturbing matter that emanated, holy smokes, someone, but emanated from our Sikh community. This matter was that of indecent images of Sikh girls being sold to other Sikh and Muslim men. Man, Bomber are probably involved in this too. I wouldn't be so. I like how it's right now just Sikh and Muslim men. I know UK has a big issue between Sikh and Muslims when it comes to sexual grooming, so I'm not going to downplay that aspect of it. But this matter was addressed and dealt with however we need to address this. And yeah, the Shit Punjab tweet, this one kind of got into the problem of people say that it's victim blaming. But look, man, it's not a victim blaming, it's victim explaining. Right? You gotta be realist about this. Just don't take these pictures and be kind of on the alert. Just, it's not blaming you for taking the pictures, although it's like not good. It's also blaming the dudes for like putting pressure on girls to take these pictures and share them. Tusi kharab ne. Sab sale pant hodne, man, like fuck. Sare khud ne the. You guys just gotta. And that's to quote a friend of mine. It was in my words. That was me quoting a famous Punjabi member of our community. But yeah, man, just stop being dicks. Stop being friggin' both dudes and girls, man. You guys sharm rakho. Parivar di ijat rakho. You know what I mean? Like, end of the day, this all goes. The account is selling and it's still active and saying it's all still up and running as an hour ago. Man, honestly, beat the shit out of the dude. Well, that's the only thing I can think. Look on it, they don't learn. And Unless there's some physical threat. I'm sure these guys are friggin'... I don't know, man. People need to just... And it's not even family legit, man. You gotta keep your communities legit at the same time. People seem to like... That's one of the big problems. We don't think of our community too much because we're like, yo, man, our community's fucked anyways. But this shit only hurts everybody. And it's not just like Sikh community, Punjabi community. It's just like your community as a whole, man. Don't downgrade this shit. Really not much else I have thoughts about it, though. No other thoughts I have on it, but it's just fucked up. What are people? Lost generation. It's not a generational thing, man. People have been doing this for ages. Ever since that cell phone camera, the digital camera, man. BSG saying West teaches individuality, mate, so it downplays the community aspect of it. Yeah, it's the one week. Here's the thing. The community is such a big part of who we are and how we've gotten to where we've gotten, and downplaying it and going all individual. Yeah, I don't really like. Yeah, I don't really mess with it too much. You gotta family nu rakho, community nu rakho. You just need it. And I know with the West, there's changes that happen, but I wouldn't go as far as say it's a lost generation. This has been going on for ages, man. The shit I remember going around when I was in high school, this wasn't so much as trading nudes and stuff, but like you always saw dudes who were like finding like girls. Look at the people that can't be named. They successful off the community closeness. I know what you're talking about. It's community ties are huge, man. And we come from a very tight-knit community. Like, that's the reason Punjabis have been able to succeed up to this point. And to change that now, I think that'd be bad. But name him who is the Apna doing this. I don't understand why he's being protected here. Probably because they don't want to get charged. I saw one guy get named. I think his name was like Aaron Tillon or something. And then this guy put an Instagram out saying, yo, it's not me. I swear to God, I'm going to go to the police station to prove my innocence. I'm like, that's such a whack cop-out, because how are the police going to prove your innocence? You haven't been charged with anything. Unless he's been charged and he goes to court. Courts are the one who prove your innocence, not the police. Such a weird thing, man. Hope the men sharing these pictures of the girls know they're sharing child pornography. 100% they're child. If she's under 18 or... Yo, man, you're going to get booked for that. Just don't have a Gandia photo on your phone. There are too many Sikh fucks out there, but people need to stop being naive too. I tend to agree with that statement. That's kind of where I'm at. Such a worry. Why are women doing this, and why do men want to create these photos? Just don't understand. Think people's lives are being ruined this way. Wolves, Forge, we got to stay alert. Yes, Forge. This isn't just an Englandy problem, and 100% this is happening here too. It just hasn't hit our radar yet to the same degree. This dunya is finished. May God forgive them and lead them to the right path. Everyone takes the blame. Don't be shy, release the men's numbers and names. There's a special place in hell for groomers. Matters not who is complicit and who isn't. To manipulate and use another man's child as your play toy and send them to ruin is punishable by severest means. No doctrine will protect you from this haram behavior. Curses upon them. Okay. Soul to sick men. So much for the Sikh strength. Ham. Sikh strength of mind not to be tempted by such things. Like, man, this guy's assuming all Sikh are like Pakke Khalsa. That's not even true, man. All committees got their friggin'... We need to just enforce our shit better. It's wild. Don't do it. Moving on. U.S. officials, Russia frees WNBA player Brittney Griner in prisoner swap with the U.S. releasing Russian arms dealer Viktor Bout. I never knew Viktor Bout. I don't know if you guys know who Viktor Bout was. Apparently Nicolas Cage played him up in a movie. In, what was it? Something war, wasn't it? But yeah, I honestly didn't know who he was, but the best was the comments underneath this. More... The league is changing. How do you give up a shooter and only get back a big? No draft compensation. I like this tweet. That shit made me laugh. Oh, shit. I don't know. I'm glad she's free. Some of the takes were weird because everyone's like, oh, the U.S. got ripped off. How do we know that? I once searched biggest arm dealer and he came up. I remember, like, I only learned about him because of this whole incident. So... But I remember they said Nicolas Cage played the movie, and I remember the movie, but I need to rewatch the movie because I don't. So what was this guy making arms, or is he just dealing them? Russia needs all the arms it can get right now. They're like, yo, bring us back our friggin' biggest arms broker. We're losing this war with Ukraine. Help us out. I don't know how useful he is, but maybe it's just a PR move for Russia also. Like, haha, we got a big bad guy. You guys get her. Now this guy's famous, sold arms to different regimes and stuff. But there was a movie about him too, right? Like, I'm sure he's famous. I'm not saying he's not. I'm just saying I was ignorant of his existence because it's not something I've been actively following. It's kind of wild though. The memes were hilarious. And yeah. Yeah, he probably did sell them to use it. That's why the US probably caught him. Because they're like, yo, I don't know. Glad she's free. I don't know much about it. It's more of the comments that were coming around this stuff that were kind of weird. Like, everyone all of a sudden became an expert at international prison swaps. And I guess that's what happens when anything big happens in politics. Like, the guy who friggin' didn't graduate grade 12 civics is like, we got ripped off. I mean, we don't even know what they were offered. Because everyone's pissed off that they didn't bring that Marine home. And they're like, Biden doesn't care about the Marines. And meanwhile, you had Trump who was mocking the Marine for even thing. What was Trump saying? Trump was saying some shit like, yo, I like guys who don't get captured. But everyone kind of, that totally skipped all Republican minds now where they're just like, yeah, Biden doesn't like friggin' the Marines, when it was a Republican president who was mocking him for getting captured in the first place. And this was before the whole, right? And the Marine was dishonorably discharged, yeah. And apparently he was in Russian jail for fraud, or no, spy charges. And I think he was discharged for fraud or something, from what I remember reading. So, I don't know, everyone's going to politicize around him being a Marine or a former Marine to begin with. That's where it's going to come down to. And the fact that the left hasn't been so much in publishing that, yo, dishonorably discharged, I think they want to bring him back. But I think it's just, obviously him not being a celebrity or playing in the WNBA or NBA or anything like that, he's not going to get that same media attention that Brittney got. So some people are saying it's a straight PR move by Biden, but honestly, I think that they got what they got. They tried to, I read that it was supposed to be a 2v2 trade. Then it was a 2v1, and then Russia said, look, 1v1 her for him, that's it. That's the only trade we're negotiating. And Biden took it, and now people calling Biden weak because we'd rather have no one than get her. And part of the thing is that she's like, I like how everyone says, like, one of the big insults on it is she's a pot smoker. Friggin' pot's legal, and it's not as bad as alcohol. So if she drank alcohol, it would be like, oh, she drinks alcohol, we can't trade for her. You guys are whack, man. And then there's the whole, well, she doesn't like US anyways, let her rot in a Russian. Look, man, you could be anti-something, but if your passport's a US passport, you gotta protect your citizens. I don't blame them. I think they did what they did, and it's good all around for them. But obviously this is gonna get overly politicized to no end, so we'll see what happens, man. But my favorite was a Vin Diesel meme, where it's like, Vin Diesel wanted her back, said get her back by December. He put it on his Instagram, and well, here she is. So, great promotion for his upcoming movie, I guess. Yeah, I don't know if you saw this. This one's... A few nights ago, a large family consisting of Renee Stojka, Zanita, Ingrid, and Nikola Strojkova, I can't even say these, and their kids suddenly moved from a rented house in Brampton. They are in rent arrears of $34,000 plus. $34,000 plus in rent. That's what, 2 years rent that they didn't pay? You really can't do anything about 2 years rent? This is why I'm like afraid of renting a house. I was talking to my friends today. I was like, yo, if I bought a house and I rented it, what can I do to protect myself from this kind of shit? And they're like, yo, you can use this thing called single key. You can get certain types of insurance that protect you. And they said, honestly, you just got to screen your freaking people. Like when you screen your tenants, you honestly avoid a lot of this kind of stuff. 34,000. Holy shit. Landlord has a hearing next month. We changed the locks and posted this notice on the door. What was interesting about this thread was this family was a straight like hustling, stealing. They used to steal people, steal furniture and all that, man. My worst tenant get 5 months of rent before eviction. That's crazy, man. Like if I bought a property for rent, 5 months would be a lot for me to shoulder. Like I would need to. That's my main hesitation. And my other buddy's like, honestly, if you can't shoulder a year's worth, it's probably not the best type of investment for you to get into right now. I was like, Tika. He's like, because honestly, that's what it could take up to. But he's like, and that's where these guys got. They didn't do a screening on these guys. Because the lawyer here says, yo, if we screened them, we would have found their Toronto Sun article. And which is kind of wild to me that you're not screening your tenants. 3,000 times 5. Shit, 15,000, eh? Yeah, so... I don't know, you gotta have a certain kind of wealth. Because I was like, yo, look, the market's dropping right now. Seems like a good time to start looking at like $600,000, $700,000 properties again. Grab one. And maybe even like team up with a buddy or something and then just rent it out. But I don't know why these guys didn't Google. Like, that's the first thing I would do is you Google a person. I Google like the most random people I come across. If I meet someone at like a convenience store and I get their name, first thing I do when I go home, like, that person left an interesting impression on me. Let me Google them. I thought I was getting a cop. I got a pot smoking druggie. Damn. But can't you do background checks? Like, so I don't even know what the laws are, but what type of background checks can you guys do on these guys? Anything at all? But yeah, so these guys were friggin' known to the police. They had been already in trouble. Holy shit, like, these guys have been charged. Police charged 12 in a seizure of more than 80,000 worth of... Like, these guys were infamous friggin' criminals, unless they used a fake name. This just seems like complete failure on the landlord's part to a degree. But yeah, I think the problem right now they're having is the landlord and tenant board they're not due for another year or something. The guy's like, I want to repossess this Beamer and sell it. What are you gonna get for it? $5,000, $6,000? How much does the lawyer take versus what gets back put? It's interesting though. One of the funny things about this was further to my client witnessing you loading your furniture into a moving truck, my client exercising her right. Like, the way this was written was so poorly written. This like notice that was honestly written by someone who with a weaker like, they're just filled with grammatical mistakes. Like, shit, you'd think it'd be a little bit better. Capitalization on these things is all off. Like, come on, man, step it up. It's messed up. John already got those mayor powers, man. The landlord tenant board got to get better. Everyone I know has so many problems with the landlord tenant board. I haven't met one person who said anything good about the landlord tenant board. And obviously it's there to protect the tenants from like hostile landlords and like crazy ass motherfuckers like that, but I'm just hearing like horror stories, which is kind of like why I'm second guessing even if I want to go into rental properties. You guys see this? The Yorkshire Post, friggin' Prince Harry, not Prince Harry. Prince Harry's on my mind because my wife was watching that documentary on Netflix. But King Charles makes a traditional Hindu Namaste greeting gesture during a visit to a new Guru Nanak Gurdwara in Luton, to meet volunteers to learn about their programs they deliver for community. Earlier, a man was arrested after throwing an egg at the king during the walkabout in Luton. This guy got an egg thrown at him earlier, cleans up, goes to the Gurdwara and says Namaste. Bless. This is just one of those weird things that you know the UK should be better considering how much like an impact Sikhs have there. And like, could you imagine like the National Post? I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if the National Post or Toronto Sun or any of the papers did that. Hindu greetings on a visit from King Charles. It's the wildest thing, man. Shows like Sikhs are still Hindus. We always will be. All Indians are going to be just Hindus. How you feel about Harry making a documentary? I think it's dope, man. I'm Team Meghan Markle, Team Harry. I don't know. We're also Team Diana. I just feel like she got relentlessly bullied. And I think now that they're, cut off from the paycheck. Look, man, they got cut off from that whole thing. You got to cash in, write a book. They got the podcast money from Spotify. You got to milk it. We're in a digital age now, right? That documentary was going to be made by someone else. The fact that they're able to document it and put out their story before the family does. Imagine your family member just leaves and... See, I mean, it depends on the circumstance, right? If we beat like if we bullied the hell out of that family until to the point that the wife was suicidal, and then there's nothing we're doing to help really protect them or something like that, and there's just all this stuff going. The friggin' UK tabloids are vicious. I don't know if you've seen the way, and I was like surprised. I didn't know they were like more than American. They're like, no, the UK tabloids are next level mean, and like they just tear your soul apart. So I think this is kind of like a fuck you to the media there. Like, we're gonna tell our story and make it bigger, but and obviously you're gonna get the opposite documentary coming out of the UK. But I think it's not as, cut and dry as, they just left and they're like bad mouthing the Queen now. I don't know. I'm a big fan of Meghan. I don't know. She seems genuine to me. I don't agree about the whole sus thing, but maybe you see something I don't. It just feels like the way the press, because I've seen the way the press is written about her and stuff, and I'm like, yo, I 100% think she got the short end of the stick there. Like, it's 100% racist. You can't even tell me that. And she's not even like the fact that they're picking on her for as much as they pick on her, and it's kind of just like, it's just weird the way they're going after her. And I'm careful what I want to say, because I don't want to say it's because she's not even that black, because she's really light skinned, or like her being darker and getting picked on wouldn't even justify it in any way. But they're just like, they don't like her, and the way they've been ripping on her in the tabloids is wild. Like everything I've seen is just like, holy smokes, these guys really, really do not like her, and they're really, really pissed off that Harry linked with her. She's pretty white. I'm saying I wouldn't have guessed she's mixed, right? But then I saw Suits, so I guess I probably would have known from other stuff, but it's not even if she's white. Like, if she was white and getting just as bullied, like, I don't think she would be bullied if she was white. I honestly think this is a whole thing about, she's not pure blood, and she's honestly coming down to, she's not white, we don't like her. It's fucked. But I don't know, the tabloids have been super, super vicious against her. That's why I'm kind of like, and from everything I've seen from outside, Diana was bullied, she was white. She wasn't bullied to the same degree that I've seen. I don't know. I was also like, 5, 6 years old during that time, so it's not like I was up to date. Like, I wasn't seeing what the tabloids and stuff. She was definitely stalked and harassed, for sure. My parents were always my mom was pro Diana, so I was just like, yeah, we're team Diana. I mean, it was the harassment that eventually got her killed with the paparazzi too, right? But was she bullied to this? There's definitely an aspect of rape. Yeah, but like Diana didn't have like that racial harassment also on top of being bullied. She was bullied, but like this one's next level harassment too. Like there's definitely a race factor in this one. So with that Meghan thing, and yeah, look, this is UK. This is the UK that we're dealing with. Hindu greetings from on a visit from King Charles. They're like, we did our right. Who gives a fuck what they are? Like, you could probably write the Yorkshire Post. They're not Hindus. They're Sikhs, mate. Like, fuck it. They're brown. The UK is probably more racist than America to some degree in that. And so we're getting like, we're not even getting torn up. We're just mocking how bad they are culturally identifying us. It's not hard to believe that she got a bad take there. But who knows, man? I'm not privy to any other inside information. I get the same info you guys do. I just interpret it differently, it seems. But yeah, UK, man, fucked up. This was an interesting one. The Sikh police says that partaking in Christmas holidays is wrong because it's Abrahamic. But then they argue that Sikhs should instead partake in the annual mourning in commemoration of the deceased shaheeds, which is ironically a practice that is also Abrahamic. This is all stemming from that one tweet someone made. I don't have the copy of that tweet. Where someone was like, Sikhs celebrating Christmas? What the hell? Or it was kind of like, imagine being a Sikh and celebrating Christmas. I don't know. I feel this whole debate's kind of weird, but I understand where they're coming from. They're like, why are you as a Sikh focusing on like, honestly, it's people. They're mad at people putting up Christmas trees and doing gifts. And I'll be openly candid. We do Christmas trees. We're putting up a Christmas tree this weekend. It's not so much it's a Christmas tree. It's a tree that looks nice, man. My wife loves the aesthetics that comes with the holidays and Christmas. It's not even so much as celebrating the birth of Jesus Christ. It's, yo, that shit looks nice. It gives us an excuse to put it up. I was like, yo, let's get that colorful, brightly lit up Rudolph outside. But yeah, I feel like you can separate the two. But then there's also like that whole what's going on in India with the Christian converts right now and Christian missionaries. So I can understand people being upset about that. And some people are saying, well, we're diluting. I don't think we're diluting Sikhi at all with this stuff, to be honest. I let my kids celebrate Halloween. That's a friggin' pagan holiday or pagan tradition. It's not something like, what the Khalsa in it. Khalsa don't go around asking for candy. Like, no, man, go fill the bag up with candy. Let's see what happens. Here's your costumes. To me, this is no different than that. Right? It's like Thanksgiving comes around. We take that time. We link up with all our friends. We do dinners. Are we becoming... It's just embracing some of the holidays that go in our favor, I guess, or taking what we like from those holidays and owning up to them. I remember growing up, we used to do turkeys and stuff too. I was like, man, I hate turkey. And then eventually I stopped eating meat, so rest in peace, turkeys. But I don't know, man. And then this is the one part that really got people annoyed was like, how are you comparing celebrating and like, you know, putting up a Christmas tree to not mourning shaheeds, or saying that because you celebrate Christmas and mourning shaheeds are the same thing. I think this tweet irked people because it conflated two arguments. Because on one hand, people could, if you just left it at this argument, that's one thing, but now they're trying to tie in a whole different thing. And to a degree, I think as Sikhs, we never mourned, which is the odd part. We celebrated the Shahidi. You know, we do Shahidi smagams have always been a thing in our culture. It's not a recent thing. So I don't know. Like when we talk about the Shaheeds, we celebrate the Shaheeds, it's not so much as mourn them. And I think that's an important part for Sikhi, is to remember your Shaheeds and celebrate the Shaheeds. So I don't think celebrating the Shaheeds and to call that a Abrahamic practice is fair. Mourning them maybe, but again, we don't mourn our Shaheeds, we celebrate the Shaheeds. And that's a big difference in my mind between the two topics. Is there's mourning and there's like, well, in fact, and people are like, well, we do Barsi smagams. Barsi smagams, again, celebrating the life. It's celebrating who that person was, remembering the good they did, remembering them for their sacrifice. It's not even akin to Remembrance Day, which is a very somber occasion. And like, I know with December and stuff, there is a somberness attached to it, but there's also like this Chardi Club, like, hands up, remembering them, and making it a celebratory thing more than a mourning thing in my mind. So Joe speaks. I feel like Joe Singh, you gotta take a bit of an L here, because I feel like I agree with you to a degree. No, I don't agree with you at all. Fuck you. Peace. Did you guys see this video? This guy has to be new. This guy probably had a bright idea. His windows are frozen over his car, and he's like, watch how quickly I clean up my shit, man. Hot water over cold things will cause quick contraction of glass to cause it to break. Don't do it. Oddly enough, I'm gonna give this guy a bit of a pass, because I remember there was one year when we were like in university, and our friggin' car had like a big bucket of snow on top of it, and we're like, yo, we gotta go, we need a ride. So we got a friggin' balti of water and just like heated it and tossed it on the car. It didn't break any windows though, so to that degree we're lucky. And then one of the guys saw us doing it and he's like, yo, don't do that. We're like, oh yeah, that's probably bad. So we didn't break anything. We didn't melt a bit of snow. But yeah, that's probably going to cost him $1,000 or $2 to replace the glass. What the weird part is his doorknob. Watch his doorknob right here. Bottom. Snap. His face is epic too. I like it when people actually fail and the person who took the video is like, yo, just post that shit. Maybe refugee Hona, man. This guy's wearing the refugee bag. This is something that only tourists or people who haven't really... When you're not local, you don't wear a bag like that. That man purse type thing. Like I rock a... I mean, who am I to talk? I rock a fucking fanny pack. But that's a passport bag. Maybe it's a nicer version of my fanny pack. I don't know. Bichala first winter, Menga Bagel. Yo, bro, Bear Ukrainians in Toronto, yeah. Schools, there's a lot. I mean, I remember when I was at the airport. At the airport, there was a lot of Ukrainians coming in that day too. I'm not even mad at that. I think Canada should be bringing in refugees if they want to come here, man. We just got to be a little bit more vigilant to make sure and it's not just Ukrainian refugees, it's for all refugees to be just vigilant that we're bringing in good, decent human beings. And I say that because I do think Ukraine had like a Nazi problem, so I don't want us to bring in crazy ass Nazis. All I wish is we cared about up in the Sikh Afghanistan refugees as much as we do about Ukrainian refugees. Honestly, that's just let us show the same level of care and let us bring those guys in too. I'm cool with Canada trying to increase its population by any means necessary. At the same time, we just got to be vigilant on not letting it create ghettos. 100%. Got to keep that same energy for all refugees. I'm pro-refugee, man. Don't get me wrong. I like the fact that we're a country that refugees look at and are hopeful to attain. I just wish we were that way across the board. But yeah, talking about nothing really. By Amritpal Singh enriching the minds of our future generations with the Mool Job and the Khalsa Vaheer continues this campaign throughout Punjab, bringing our brothers and sisters back to Sikh. I love Amritpal Singh right now. So I was talking to someone. He's kind of suspect of him. I'm one of the most biggest skeptics of people around. I'm not skeptical of him right now. Akal Murat Junni Sahab Hang Gur Prasad Japa Ad Sach Jugad Sach Be Sach Hosi Be Sach. Yo, Amritpal Singh's killing it. One of the things that someone mentioned about Amritpal Singh was that he's really inspiring like people in prison. They said he's inspiring thugs and gangsters to come towards Sikhi. And I thought that was dope. Because I remember one of the things that I always took away from, so when I read Malcolm X's autobiography, Muslims have this huge presence in jail systems where they have like imams and stuff available and Muslim counselors and things available to Muslim inmates, right? And then I was like, in Canada, we don't have that to that same degree. Because I remember there was a few cases where WSO was reached out to by prisons saying, hey, we have a Sikh prisoner here who is really wanting to speak with a Sikh priest. Do you guys have anyone that you can like send or recommend us contacting that can come to like Kingston and talk to him? We don't have that same level of exposure, or I don't know, institutions. We're missing something. And I feel like we need to have that element, because it's not about, well, it is about redeeming them. It's about redemption. It's about helping people who feel that, putting people with this energy to do something, bring them in. I don't know, but like the number of Muslims who come, like gutted Muslims from prison and actually reform and embrace Islam is huge. And I think Sikhi, and I think, who was it, the Nation of Islam was really notorious for that. Like, I think they would have special programs for that. Yeah, so like, Sikhs, we need that. And the fact that Bhai Amritpal Singh he's having that impact on people with this morcha, I think it's beautiful, man. Nothing but love and support to Bhai Amritpal Singh. I'm like in such awe of him, and part of it might be nostalgia because I keep like seeing so much of Sant Jarnail Singh's like image when I see him, but I don't know. And I'm not comparing him one-to-one with Sant Jarnail Singh either, because Sant Jarnail Singh pakke Mahapurakh in my eyes, but, and I don't think, I'm not, saying Bhai Amritpal Singh Mahapurakh and anything like that, because I don't want to dissuade what he's doing from all that kind of small stuff. But I think what he's doing is great, man. And just him doing Woolmatat part and job with Bache was awesome to see. I feel like we have to get closer as a community, support Sikh institutions and charities programs instead of fighting each other. Easier said than done, man. I think we all say that, and I think individually we just got to keep moving towards it and finding orgs we respect and who fulfill things we agree with and just support them. As a community, trying to get everyone on board with the same orgs is always going to be an issue, and I think that's a losing battle. Instead, you got to just pump who you like, and because there's so many great Sikh orgs, you can't just say, Wadis Punjab is the only org that we want to support, or Khalsa is the org we want to support, or WSO is the org we want to support, or your Sif as a. I find so many good things in so many different orgs that I'm like, look, then there's orgs I don't like, and I'm up front, like United Sikhs, I don't like them in the slightest because I think they're kind of scummy based on what I've read and know about their practices with how they handle, Bantik Basan, Bantik Kujarnan. So I'm just kind of like, look, I tell people like, I'm not supporting them, but what is Punjab Day for now? Full support. And I hope that never changes. I hope that I can keep going, man. I just donate to whoever comes up in my work payroll deductions. Our big orgs here right now are Sikh children they're probably our most donated to right now just because. But we had a time when our kids were sick, or just a fear of our kids getting sick. It's like, look, man, I know people who've had sick kids. It's one of the most like painful like problems I can think of. So I'm like, I want to give it to sick kids because I don't know. There's just like the level of empathy right now because of having young kids ourselves. But Amritpal Singh, man, full support. The fact that he went back to Punjab, like this guy was living a decentish life in Dubai. And then he's like, you know what? I'm going to go back to Punjab. And he's charismatic. He's well-spoken. He's thoughtful. And he used to be on Twitter. He used to be a Twitter troll, apparently. So him deciding, you know what? I'm done trolling on Twitter. I'm going to go do this stuff in real life. Full support, man. This thing gave me nightmares. The earthquake bed. Check this shit out. It's like a prototype idea of what they could do for a friggin' earthquake bed. One, it's not aesthetic, so how popular this gets definitely, or maybe this is just what the outside of it looks like. And honestly, this would be big for like war-torn countries or countries where you're afraid of getting nuked or like rocketed and your building collapsing on you. But this thing scares me because I was like, what if there was one version of this that was just like, where is it? Let's find it. There was one that I was like, say you're like at the edge of the bed when this collapses, like it's like dangling, your legs dangling over, bam, snap. This was the worst one. So like apparently you can open it up from the inside and you have like food rations inside it and stuff. But check this, not this one, but the next one that comes up. This one, watch this one in slow motion. Right there. This is happening to me. I'm just sitting up out of sheer reaction. Like, what the hell's going on? So imagine me sitting up like, what the hell just happened? And bam! Head cut off. This thing would have just guillotined me, man. I was like, that's a horrible design. I would have been guillotined so quick. What would suck is being like, when you're married and you're sharing your bed with your partner and all of a sudden you're trapped in a box with them. That would not be fun either. You need like individual boxes. But look, they got water, they got first aid, they got gas masks. Making these mattresses would suck. This thing would probably be heavy as hell. If I was a doomer, I would definitely get one of these. That's not a bad design. I think this is all just a concept. Oh no, it says sales and marketing. So you could actually buy this? Nifty, man. It's definitely a one-person thing. Me after the bed won't open up again. Imagine surviving the earthquake because of the bed protected you from all the collapse. And all of a sudden you're trapped in the bed. Like the screws are... Wild. I mean, I can definitely see a place for it. I'm sure it needs a few more iterations. You see this story? This guy got jumped. This guy was on... So apparently there was a fight between this school's football team, these two schools' football team, not this school particularly, but Him and the other school, or the two teams, the football beef. And so when the basketball team came around, they're like, yo, this guy plays for the basketball team too. They set him up because there was like some girl on Tinder that he linked with, and she set him up to get jumped. But instead of like, so he got ambushed, he got beat up, but he had a gun on him, so he shot one of the guys that was attacking him and he killed him. So then they suspended him from school. That's kind of fucked. The story is, Mike Peake got into a brawl involving students from in-state rival University of New Mexico when the two schools played each other in football in October. When New Mexico State traveled to New Mexico, I like how it's New Mexico State versus New Mexico, for a basketball game that was scheduled for November 19th, Peake was lured into what he believed would be a sexual encounter. This guy's dick got him into panga by a 17-year-old girl and was ambushed by 3 men in apparent retaliation for the fight at the football game. The surveillance video shows Peake being attacked by a man with a baseball bat, and as he ran away, he became embroiled in a shootout with the assailants. Peake was shot in the leg, and I like how the fight turned into a whole shootout. Peake was shot in the leg and sustained injuries that required multiple surgeries in the crossfire. He shot and killed 19-year-old Brandon Travis. Everyone's going to be pouring a little bit out for Brandon, brothers. The basketball team has decided to suspend Peake for the time being. Thoughts? Kind of messed that Peake got suspended. But I guess they're just like, yo, you have a gun on you? That's kind of dirty. But I don't know, man. Part of this, I feel bad for the guy, man. Trying to get onto an NCAA team. I stayed above board, did everything he needed to do. Got into uni. Got drafted or whatever. Got, you know, his scholarship. And this weird-ass bunga got him fucking done. Like, I'm pretty sure his NCAA career is likely done. I don't know. It's a wild story. One of the things was he's from Chicago. They're like, yo, they fucked with the wrong dude. Don't fuck with Chicago mans like that. Economic woes. More pre-con. Have you guys seen this? Completely opposite side. More pre-cons mysteriously going up in flames. Bolton also had some other day. I wonder what's happening here. I think I know. Yeah. Basically saying insurance fraud's happening. That is what he thinks is happening here, man. I'm pretty sure these guys just... Albert Santos 10 from TikTok posted this on his thing in Hamilton. These guys probably are like, yo, we don't want the house. I don't know. Do you even get insurance money at this point because you don't have possession? I don't know. How does that all work? Like, they probably put the house on fire and they're like, hey, I'm old enough to remember a few of these in 1989. Didn't save Bramley. Oh, swear to God. So this is an actual thing. I don't even know if you can get out of insurance that way, man. That's insane. New trick by builder or purchasers who aren't happy about the market right now. Are there stats? Like, what happens when your pre-con goes on fire? Is that a way you can get out of the pre-con? Because you're like, well, the house isn't going to be built? Like, what's the story there? I believe they call that insurance fraud. I mean, it's only insurance fraud if you get caught. It's kind of messed up, though. But damn, that's where we are with the current housing market. It's burn the houses before they get built. I just don't know how this all... Who does the builder get insurance from this and the buyer gets out? Does the buyer get insurance from it and that's how they get out? I don't know. Messed up, though, man. That's how wild our current market is. And on that note... That is all we have to say today. What's going on in the world? And now we might actually start gaming soon. I'm claustrophobic as fuck. Yeah, those things are tiny, man. I'm not claustrophobic. Honestly, I sleep better when I like mentally put myself in like some sort of claustrophobic position. I'm like, I need to be like in a nice tight space. I sleep beautiful in that situation. Above the session, I am back. Welcome back, sir.